Hi, all you bear cats and dragons. Great to have you back for this week's writing activity. This week in writing, we are going to start writing our very own folktale. Silent excitement if you're excited to start writing your very own folktale or fable story. Ooh, I could feel that silent excitement. So, as we're starting this process, you're going to notice we're only going to do a little piece of it at a time. So, today we're just doing one part of our folktale. We'll do another part later on in the week. We're going to work on this same story that you're coming up with all by yourself week after week after week until in a few weeks, by the end, we'll have these wonderful folk tales and fables that have interesting characters and learn lessons by the end. So you're going to choose an idea for one story and keep coming back to work on it week after week. Let's get started. So the first thing I like to do when I'm thinking about writing my own folktale or fable is to remember some great stories that I already know, like The Hare and the Tortoise that you read with Miss Celestine last week. Three Little Pigs and Goldilocks and the Three Bears are stories that most of us know. And The Boy Who Cried Wolf was one you read with me last week too. I like to keep those stories in my mind because it will help me think about all the important parts that a folktale or fable story should have to them. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to think about the moral of the story we're going to come up with. If you remember from Miss Celestine's reading lesson, a moral is the lesson the character learns at the end of the story. So before we even come up with our characters, before we come up with our setting or anything else, when we're writing a folktale or a fable, we need to think about what is the lesson we want to teach in our story. I'm going to remind us, we're going to review a little bit about what the moral of the story of the tortoise and the hare was. I know this says the hare and the tortoise or the tortoise and the hare, same story. So, what was the lesson the tortoise learned in the story? Let's think about that. If you're thinking, I don't remember, that was last week, you can always go back and read that story again with Miss Celestine. The lesson the tortoise learned was that if you keep trying and don't give up, you can reach your goals. Yeah, that's what the tortoise learned when he continued on and he never gave up and he continued his race and he was able to win. So now let's think about what moral we might want to write in our own stories. Here, I have some examples of ideas that you can use. If you're having trouble thinking of a lesson you want to your characters to learn in your story, you can try any one of these. Maybe you think it's an important moral to write, always tell the truth in your story, or to have courage, keep your promises, do not cheat. Maybe you want your story to be about treating others as you want to be treated. Maybe you want your moral to be taking responsibility for your actions or having patience or to be tolerant of differences. That means being kind to other people who might do things or say and be different than we are and being okay with that and still being kind to them. So you could do that as well. So I'm going to give you a moment and you can pause the video or you can stop and think right now, what is a moral you might want to teach in your folktale or fable? Go ahead and give that a thought now. I am so excited to find out what moral you guys want to include in your story. Once you've come up with the moral, you can go to your graphic organizer, which looks just like this. This is a graphic organizer we are going to be using for the next 2 weeks. We're not going to fill this whole thing out today. We're not going to fill this whole thing out this week. We're going to do square by square over 2 weeks until we have all the parts to our folktale and fable. Then we'll get to start writing it out. So today, the only box we're worried about is the moral or the lesson that our character will learn. We are not typing in any of these boxes. I can't type in them. Look, I'm clicking. Can't type, can't type. That's okay. We're not to these yet. We're going to get to characters and setting later this week, and we're going to do the rest of these boxes next week. Today, I'm going to my text box under the moral of the story. I can backspace where it says type here. Now I have a nice clean text box that I can use. If I made a mistake and accidentally erase my text box, it's gone now. I can go up to the corner, watch my arrow, to this button, that is undo. And if I click it, my box appears again, and then I can start typing. I'm going to show you the example of the story that I'm going to write. You're not going to choose the same lesson as I choose. I want you to pick one that's different. It can be similar, but I want you to use your own ideas, and I want to hear what your thoughts are in your own story. So for my example, my moral is going to be ask for help when you need it. I decided that it's a really important thing that I want to teach in my story is that when you need help, you don't need to worry and work all by yourself. You can always ask somebody else for help. That's an important thing to learn. So I thought of my moral and I put it in my text box right here in a complete sentence. That's it. That's all I need to do today. I came up with my moral. I typed it in. Then I'm going to go ahead out and I'm going to mark this as done on Google Classroom so that the teachers can check it for me. And then the next lesson we come in, I'm going to get to do main characters and setting. So once you have your moral and you've typed it in, you're all done for the day. Way to go, Bearcats. Way to go, Dragons. And we'll see you in a couple of days. And we will continue building all of the parts of our folktale and fable story. Have a great day.